With more than 2 decades in advertising, marketing, and research, Kelly McDonald can show you how to reach diverse audiences with relevance and authenticity. And she can share important insights on how to manage an increasingly diverse workforce. Kelly has worked with companies of all sizes. Her clients include Toyota, Nike, State Farm, and Harley-Davidson. She's been featured on CNNMoney.com, Sirius XM Radio, Business Week, and CNBC. Her book, How to Market to People Not Like You, was one of the top 10 business books of 2011. Kelly's session, Changing Demographics, is a popular topic for companies that want to thrive in an environment of increasing differences. Here's a sample of this popular session.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. How are you? Good. Happy to be here, and I'm very excited to talk about my topic, which is changing demographics and how this affects you and your bank. And I want to talk to you about the census data, because the census is a gift that comes once a decade. It's our gift. We're taxpayers. We paid for the census information, and it's ours. And I believe that you need to make yourself very familiar with the core findings of the census, because how can you serve your local community if you don't know who your community is? The key findings that I want to focus on for the census today are diversity, the cultural generation gap, the rural to urban shifts, a phenomena called bright flight, minorities moving to suburbs, and young people postponing marriage. And then after I cover all of that, I'll talk to you about the banking implications for your business. One of the reasons that the shifts are changing in rural communities is because of a phenomena called bright flight. Bright flight refers to young, educated people who are moving to cities. They are leaving rural communities behind, and they're moving to the urban cores, San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, Houston, etc. And the draw is knowledge-based jobs, public transportation, and a robust social life and city ambiance. And I don't know how many of you would feel this way, but every 25-year-old that I know does not want to live in a rural, isolated area. They want to be where their friends are, they want to be in the city, they want to be where the action is, and specifically, they are drawn to technology-based jobs. So this is called bright flight. It's happening all across the country. And in just a moment, I'll talk about what I think are some of the business implications of that. Also in the suburbs, non-married couples and families. So you have lots of couples and lots of families, but they are in fact not married. So why is that happening? Well, it's because young people are postponing marriage. Not rejecting marriage, postponing marriage. The percentage of people who are aged 25 to 34, which is the prime marrying age, dropped from 55% in 2000 to 45% in 2010. That's a pretty big drop in 10 years. In fact, it's the lowest level of percentage married of that age group in 150 years. That's not a typo. That's not supposed to say 1962. It's 1862. And to just give you some contrast for that, in the 60s, when the thing to do was get married, then the level of percent married in this age group was 80%. So in just a few decades, we've gone from 80% of an age bracket being married to less than 50%. Additionally, they don't feel economically ready. And they're not. Not only are they not necessarily employed, and I'm not going to ask for a show of hands on this, but I am betting. I'm betting that at least 10% of this audience has an adult child living at home in your attic or your basement or your living room. And not to be Debbie Downer here, but I was reading an article the other day that was talking about how the age of maturation for other generations has always been in the early 20s, and I know that was true for myself. By the time I was about 22 years old, I was expected to be an independent adult, living on my own, paying my own rent, and making my way. Well, today, the age of maturation is now 30. So for those of you who do have that kid living at home, I'm sorry, but they're going to be there for a while. Now, the implications of all of this for you in the banking business. I'm going to talk about a changing customer base, the recruiting and retention of young talent, changing customer expectations, marketing, and HR. In terms of a changing customer base, I've already shown you how diverse our nation is becoming and how diverse Texas is. This can only mean that in the future you will have more minority business owners. How can you not? That's the population change. So that's going to also possibly mean things like smaller loans. There's a lot of data that shows that small minority business owners, especially first-time small business owners, they don't necessarily need a $500,000 loan. They need a $30,000 loan or a $50,000 loan. From a recruiting and a retention standpoint, the competition for young talent is always going to be fierce. But increasingly, the talent competition is not just going to be with other banks and organizations, it's also going to be with large cities and progressive work environments. What I would say to you is keep your standards high, don't compromise, but if you've got two equally qualified candidates for a position and one has language skills and the other one doesn't, then folks, they are not equally qualified anymore, and this is going to become increasingly important. So, wrapping up, changing demographics is business evolution. This isn't about, some HR thing about, doing the right thing or being politically correct or anything like that. This is business, folks, because your communities are changing. I've shown you irrefutable data, and as I said, your communities today do not look anything like they looked 10 years ago. And 10 years from now, they're not going to look like they look today. You are duty-bound as a local business leader to keep your finger on the pulse of what is going on locally so that you can actually serve your community in the full capacity that you're capable of. But also your customers are changing, and so is your workforce. So this is business evolution. So thank you very much. You've been a wonderful audience, and I hope that this has been helpful. Good luck to you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.